Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, and today I just wanted to bring to your guys' attention that all of the Battlefield games over on Steam are on a pretty hefty discount at the moment. So I know a lot of people on stream have been asking me, should I pick up Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, etc. A lot of people who used to play the game on console and now perhaps want to come over to PC, or even players who have only played since, Battlefield 1 or 5, and they haven't experienced the glory that is Battlefield 3 and 4, the glory days. So normally these games cost $40 on Steam, which I think is quite honestly a pretty ridiculous price for games that came out in 2011 for Battlefield 3 and 2013 for Battlefield 4. You do get all of the premium, it's the premium edition, so you get all of the premium content such as the 5 expansion packs that come with it, but even so, $40, personally, I probably wouldn't pay that for a 7-year-old game, but right now they are both on discount for $8 or $7.99 specifically. Now for others that might be like €8, but if you've been thinking, should I pick up Battlefield 3 or 4, like is it a good game, is it worth it, I would definitely say without a shadow of a doubt that if you want to play the game, now is the best time to pick it up. There are plenty of servers, both for BF3 and BF4, although I would probably say there's a lot more for Battlefield 4, so if I had to pick one, I would go with that one. And if you're someone who's into vehicular play like I am, I would also say that Battlefield 4 had a lot of improvements to the vehicle play that Battlefield 3 didn't have. But on the flip side, I also know that for infantry play, a lot of people prefer Battlefield 3, and sometimes that comes down to a lot of the iconic maps there, like Grand Bazaar and Senna Crossing and whatnot. Anyway, so with that said, I just wanted to take a look at how the Battlefield franchise is doing on Steam. I should also mention that Battlefield 1 is also on sale for $15, and Battlefield 5 is on sale for $20. I already have both of those, so I don't need to pick them up, but should you pick them up? I honestly don't really know how many people are playing those games anymore. There isn't really no player information, especially for Battlefield 5, because it doesn't have any servers, so it's quite hard to gauge how many people are playing those games. But none of these games are being supported anymore by DICE or EA, so what you see is what you get, and in that case I would definitely prefer to play Battlefield 4. So since the Battlefield games have come over to Steam, it's actually given us quite a unique perspective to look at, because as you guys know, Steam allows users to make their own reviews about games, and obviously once the Battlefield games came over to Steam, the games are already released with all of their content. Most of the bugs and whatnot, in the case of most of them at least, have been ironed out, and the game is basically in its final form. There aren't going to be any more patches or anything like that. So there are none of these like early access reviews kind of tainting the overall review score. We've basically just got a review score from once the game came onto Steam in its finished version. So in a minute I'm going to go and look at some of the reviews of Battlefield 4 and see what people are saying about it. Let's compare those review scores to like Battlefield 5 and some other games, and see which one is performing, I suppose you could say, the best. But first of all, I'm having a look here at the top sellers, because all the Battlefield games are on sale, and obviously none of them are really at the top. We've got stuff like Baldur's Gate 3, which has been anticipated for a long time, and a lot of people have been waiting for that, Fall Guys, etc. But if you scroll a little way down the list, we've got Squad. That's of course just entered its sort of version 1. It's gotten out of early access. Here we've got Battlefield 5. But above Battlefield 5 is Battlefield 4, and that is certainly interesting to see. There's also this Battlefield bundle, which you can get for $32, which includes BF4, BF1, and BF5. That's probably a good deal if you don't own any of the games, but of course, if you own some and not the others, you're probably better off purchasing them individually. But yeah, like, the fact that the 7-year-old Battlefield game is above in top selling compared to the 2-year-old Battlefield game is quite surprising. You can also see here, if I scroll over, it says that for this game, the reviews are mixed. Doesn't give a precise percentage, but we'll go and look at that in a minute. And then for Battlefield 4 here, it says very positive. So, that's interesting. And then, interestingly enough, the bundle says mostly positive. So I guess that lies somewhere in between. Alright, so here we are on the Battlefield 4 page, and it says here recent reviews 78% positive and overall 81%. So let's have a scroll down here and see what people are saying. Obviously it's not just a massive hit it out of the park in terms of Steam reviews. It's not one of those 93% games. I honestly think the reason that it doesn't have a score above 90% is because a lot of the issues with the game at the moment is just based on the fact that we have servers run by, you know, people like me and you, and a lot of people don't really understand how that works. So this guy says here, takes 10 minutes to join a server and half of match is over till then. Quick match not working. So, you know, this guy here who's using quick match, everybody who plays Battlefield 4 knows that nobody uses quick match. People, you know, look for a server themselves. This guy has obviously only played Battlefield 5, it seems, or other games that have matchmaking. So he was expecting a full matchmaking system. He was expecting to join a match from the beginning, not halfway through the match, which is, you know, often the case when you join a server in Battlefield 4. Waste of money, don't buy it in India if you don't have 10 to 20 friends who can buy this game. So it also seems that he's in a part of the world where there aren't a lot of servers running. Most of the servers are in Central Europe and North America. So if you live in those places, you're fine. But I will have to say, you can see another one here, even though this guy recommends it, he says for any Aussies out there, so, you know, people from Australia, the game is basically dead, could only find 2 servers, and one is permanent operation locker. So, you know, if you live in, you know, I don't want to say some obscure part of the world, but where there's not too many other people living, it seems you're not going to be able to find very many servers for this. That's the problem with it, with servers run by the community. They pretty much choose who runs the servers, and if nobody in your area wants to have a server, then, you know, there's not going to be any servers for you. But then again, you could also decide to go and buy a server yourself, maybe get together with some friends, all of you guys put in some money, and I'm sure there are plenty of other players like you who are looking for servers in Australia or in India and around those areas. It will probably have no problem at all getting enough players to join there. Best Battlefield of all time, I could agree with that. Buggy piece of garbage. Not really sure why this guy says that, but he doesn't give any information as to why there. Great game, EA, gross. Infinite sex. This guy's downvoted it, owned it for about an hour. I got it up and running, then I get blindsided by the BLM motto at launch screen and refunded. Keep politics out of games, please. Oh, Black Lives Matter, okay. Apparently he's not a fan of that. I have to say, personally, I really don't think that politics should be anything to do with gaming companies. You know, I kind of agree with this guy in a way. I know that Steam were ridiculed for the fact that they didn't say anything about the whole Black Lives Matter movement. I really don't know why. You know, computer games have never, and I don't think should ever, be involved in politics. This guy has downvoted because he got kicked by Punkbuster. So I've read this also on the Battlefield 3 reviews. If you buy this game, it may be that you need to download Punkbuster separately. I know that if you buy this from Origin directly, it automatically downloads Punkbuster. And for those who don't know, Punkbuster is EA's basically anti-cheat system. And you have to have that installed, otherwise you won't be able to play the game. It will think you're a cheater or a hacker or whatever, and you will be instantly kicked out of every server you join. So make sure that you go to EA's website or wherever you download Punkbuster from and grab that, install that, as well as installing the Battlefield game that you've bought on Steam. I killed 4 people with an RPG and my entire team started screaming Allahu Akbar for 5 minutes, 10 out of 10. BF4 is arguably the best Battlefield infantry experience you can get. Let's have a look what this guy says. It had a disastrous launch and it took DICE LA years to polish it out. The movement system is fast and fluid combined with addictive gunplay. There are some exploits like Zuzu jumping, which takes some time to practice but can really make the difference in most situations. That's true. There are tons of HUD customizations, and this should be mandatory for all FPS titles, but you won't find it outside of Battlefield 4. Again, definitely true. Really like the work that they did on the CT with all the changes to the advanced options. I started playing it actively back in 2017, and I have spent 300 plus hours playing mainly Operation Lockers 24/7 and other good infantry maps. So he maybe doesn't have too much of an insight on the vehicles here. From here on, everything goes downhill. Battlefield 4 is full of annoying gadgets, grenades, etc. Most of the maps are terrible or made for vehicle combat, where a good pilot or tanker can dominate the entire enemy team. Before, it was full of terrible admins who would ban every good player because of cheating. Currently, most good servers with proper rules and weapons and gadget restrictions are offline, so it's a lot harder to find a proper server. BF4 is also the last good Battlefield title. Everything after here has been rubbish, let's just say, and DICE is trying to attract casual players and forcing political correctness Swedish style. Yeah, I would kind of agree in that way. It does seem that they're catering a bit more to casuals, especially with the matchmaking. Although, you know, I can also sympathize with this guy about trying to find a server. I think that is one of the problems with having servers. You guys will know if you watch me on streams, sometimes I jump in a server and within 5 or 10 minutes I'm out of the server and looking for a new one again, because it's just so hard to find a server for what you specifically want. There are such a wide variety of playstyles in Battlefield 4, from people who enjoy vehicles, you know, and then depending on which vehicle you enjoy, people who want to play infantry, people who want to play on hardcore. And so a lot of the time I'll jump into a server wanting to play in the jets or whatever, you know, it will switch to an infantry only map and I'm out of there. I'll jump in and maybe the server hoster has turned off the vehicles, or it's fast vehicle spawns, or it's hardcore mode, or these weapons aren't allowed, or there's a KD limit, and any of these things, you know, cause me to have to go and find a new server. And honestly, matchmaking would just eliminate all of that. I don't really want that in the next Battlefield game. I would always prefer player-run servers over a matchmaking system, especially if it had skill-based matchmaking like Call of Duty does at the moment. But I can certainly see why DICE have gone that route with Battlefield 5. It just saves them, I think, a lot of headaches. I'm a fan of the series ever since Bad Company 2, where I spent 1,000 plus hours. I pre-ordered BF3, where a lot of bad changes were implemented, like suppression. Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1, which I couldn't play for more than 100 hours. After so many disappointments, the whole franchise is dead to me, and I couldn't care less for the future titles. So that's a bit sad. This guy seems like he's pretty much just given up on Battlefield in total, but he seems to agree here that Battlefield 4 is the last good Battlefield title, and honestly, I would agree with that. Outside of Hardline, I reckon is a good game, but right now, at least on PC, there is nobody playing it. There are hardly any servers, so there's no way that I can recommend you to buy that game unless it's on, you know, ridiculous discount, like $5 just for the single player, but for multiplayer, I wouldn't really buy it. This guy says, they don't make shooters like this anymore. One of the best FPS of all time. Servers are still good, if not better, in 2020. The last Battlefield that I actually enjoyed. Who knows how to make a shooter? DICE. Who knows how to ruin a shooter? EA. Is good. Needs more players. Now we can see here, again, this guy's made a whole post here, read if you need help with Punk Buster. So I do think a lot of these 20-something% of downvotes are because of Punk Buster issues. Let's have a look. This guy says, absolute masterpiece of a game, awful release on Steam. You need to install Punk Buster manually, or you will be kicked from servers when you get a kill. So there, that guy's reiterating exactly what I said. Mixed reviews because of a very simple to resolve issue. Again, this guy is talking about Punk Buster. So, you know, all in all, I really think that this game would have more like 90-something% positive reviews if it wasn't for the Punk Buster issues and the fact that there just aren't enough servers, which, let's face it, are not really DICE's fault at that point. It was just, I mean, obviously they put this over in Steam and they probably should have sorted out these issues, but it's not really gameplay related. Again, here is another downvoted review, and this guy's saying, I sincerely don't recommend this game for multiplayer. First of all things, the official servers are already closed down by EA, which is true, you know, they had a lot of their own servers up, now it's only player-run servers. So when their official servers are down, then why even bother selling your game, especially at its original price as is. It's not quite the original price, but I do agree that it's way, way too high for what it is at the moment. In fact, most people are only buying to play its multiplayer and not single player, but nowhere is it highlighted or told in the game description or anywhere that the official servers have been shut down. I've also seen a lot of complaints of that. A lot of people don't really seem to know what the Battlefield franchise is about, so they buy the game thinking it's like an enthralling, long single player campaign. They then play through, you know, the 6-7 hour campaign and feel that the money wasn't really worth it. Some people, believe it or not, are actually buying Battlefield without any interest in the multiplayer mode whatsoever. Last good Battlefield, 5 was trash, Hardline and 1 was as well. I pretty much agree with that statement. Okay, so let's head over to Battlefield 5 and see what people are saying about that game. Now remember, both these games were ported over to Steam at, you know, the same time, so they've both had a fair running. It's not like one game has been there for a long time and then the other game has arrived, you know, much later. In fact, Battlefield 5 has been, if anything, on Steam longer than Battlefield 4. So overall here, it's only got 62% mixed and recent reviews. And also remember that when you install Battlefield 5, there is no battle log launcher and punk buster that you have to separately install and all of that nonsense. It's all just rolled like into the game now. It's not like how it was in BF4 where you've got to have punk buster running in the background. I don't think you know, the in-game launcher where you join a server and matchmake is done from within the game. That's not so in some of the games like Battlefield 3, for example. You still have to run that from Battlelog. So you've got to remember that out of those 40-something reviews, none of them will be about that, I don't think, and also none of them will be about them complaining of servers, since we have a matchmaking system here. So this guy says, they stopped updating the game, don't buy it, it doesn't even include the French or even the Russians, who were a huge part of the war. What World War II themed game doesn't include the Russians? My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Sorry, that's really not funny, but kind of is funny at the same time, if you catch my drift. This is the worst game I have ever played. It has great graphics and a great deal of potential, but it took me 15 minutes to play all 4 episodes, a waste of $20. I installed the game, then I had to install another kind of software so I could run the game. Next, after I finished the game in 15 minutes, the game wanted me to install software and go online to play. A bloody waste. This game simply sucks. EA, what the hell happened? So, yeah, I think that game mainly bought it for the single player experience. This guy says, though, honestly decent once given a chance. Fun to play, guns go pew pew, tanks go boom boom, etc. BF3, 8 out of 10. BF4, 9 out of 10. BF1, 8 out of 10. BF5, 4 out of 10. Full of hackers and can't switch teams. I'm glad I didn't pay for this piece of crap. Cheaters and OP planes make this game unplayable. This guy says, good game, 10 out of 10 if you like hackers. But he's giving it a plus. He's giving it a thumbs up. This kind of seems a bit contradictory, though, the if you like hackers bit, so not really sure. Great game, get it now. Let's just skip over this one here. Not what I expected, pleasantly surprised. I thought it was just a reskin of BF1 at the time, at first, but while it is still in a World War setting, they've made a lot of changes that I really like. You can revive your squad mates regardless of your class, but medics can revive teammates that are not in their squad. I mean, that's always been the case. When reviving a teammate, you have to complete an animation. Medics also revive teammates faster, and this discourages people from reviving you in the middle of heavy gunfire explosions like in past games. Yeah, that's true, although generally I don't like the animation system, but I do agree with this guy that BF1 and BF5 have brought some interesting mechanics, like, you know, the mantling system is better, the sliding system is good. I like the sniping better in Battlefield 5 than I do in Battlefield 4. But it just really slid downhill in a lot of ways, including the vehicular play. Although I can't blame some people for hating this game, I still find it fun and graphically impressive. Oh, for sure it is graphically impressive. Very good audio, visual, animations, maps, weapons. Some would say that customization is very good, enjoyable, but not for that long, the campaign. Also, it's significantly worse than Battlefield 1's. Laughable Firestorm mode, agree. Some multiplayer maps are weak AF, 7 out of 10. This guy says, despite all the bad history this game has had, I still have fun with it minus the hackers. If you're looking for an authentic World War II game, then I would recommend you play Hell Let Loose. However, for a casual game, I really have fun with this on top of it being a semi-accurate World War II shooter. So it seems, you know, it kind of reflects my feelings about the game. You know, the game did do some good stuff. I can totally say I've had some fun playing Battlefield 5, you know, but it's also had some things that have been very bad with it. I will even go so far as to say that the planes are completely OP in Battlefield 5, and that's coming from somebody who tries to play in the jets and in the planes every single round, and I love going on a nice juicy kill streak as much as the next man. But when you're playing in a standard server, what is the default amount of tickets, and you're getting crazy scores like 120 kills to 0, that's just mental. I mean, if I play in what is a standard round of Battlefield 4, which is an 800 versus 800 ticket game, I can maybe get, you know, 30 and 0 in an attack jet, maybe 40, but that's like pushing it. But if I want to get a much higher score than that, it's going to be a game that's like 1200 tickets, 1600 tickets, you know, 3200 gold mud servers, those kinds of things. Of course, those kind of servers don't exist in Battlefield 5. You've just got the default setup with the normal amount of tickets, and so when you see all these posts on Reddit of, you know, people at the top of the scoreboard going 130 and 0 in a plane in a standard 20-25 minute game, yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's absolutely mental. So there you go, guys. That is what Steam thinks of Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 5. Regardless, if you want to pick up any of the games, they are on discount now, so definitely a good time to do it. You know, go and pick up BF4 or BF5 or whatever it is you want while the discounts are on. As I said at the start of the video, I can thoroughly recommend Battlefield 3 and 4. They're both fantastic games, plenty of servers, at least on PC, to play on at the moment. Come to think of it, I'm not sure if this is an EA discount scheme, then maybe they're also discounted on consoles right now. I can't really check that since, you know, I don't really play on console, but you might want to check that if you're interested in playing on console, although I will say I'm not sure how many servers there are there. Anyway, let me know down below, guys, what kind of a score would you give these games, you know, Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 5? What would you give them if you were leaving a review on Steam? Let me know down in the comments below, you know, leave a simple, you know, X out of 10 for what you think of the games and how they could be improved upon in the future. Also, leave a like if you enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one.